Gilead Sciences just won a major court fight over one of its flagship HIV drugs, and the ruling could blow up an entire industry of health plan middlemen that have been quietly importing Gilead's medications from overseas and handing them out to American patients. The case traces back to something almost unbelievable. A patient in Maryland who was prescribed Gilead's HIV drug Biktarvy opened his mail one day and found a Turkish version of the medication instead of the version normally sold in the United States. Gilead Sciences investigated, and what it found was not a one-off mistake. It uncovered a much larger scheme in which companies were systematically importing foreign market versions of Gilead's branded drugs and distributing them to patients here through employer health plans. Gilead Sciences sued the companies it says were behind that scheme, a group the court simply nicknamed the Quartet, RX Valet, Advanced Pharmacy, Affordable RX, and an individual named Gregory Santilli. Gilead accused the quartet of directly infringing its trademarks by importing and selling foreign-market Gilead-branded medications in the United States. Gilead also sued two other companies, Meritain Health and ProAct, arguing those companies helped facilitate the scheme by connecting the imported drugs to employer health plans and patients. A district court sided with Gilead Sciences early on, issuing a preliminary injunction that blocked the defendants from advertising, selling, or helping sell any imported Gilead-branded medications in the United States. The defendants appealed, but the United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit just upheld that injunction entirely, handing Gilead Sciences a clean win. The court's reasoning is worth hearing in its own words, because it cuts right to the heart of why Gilead Sciences fought this so hard. The judges wrote that what Gilead sells in Turkey and what it sells in Maryland share a chemical formula, but materially differ, and travel through different quality control systems. In other words, even if a pill sold overseas has the same active ingredient as the Biktarvy sold in an American pharmacy, the court found the differences in packaging, labeling, supply chain oversight, and quality control were real, not just a technicality, which is exactly what made this trademark infringement rather than a harmless price arbitrage. This ruling lands squarely on a business model known as alternative funding programs, or AFPs. AFPs are companies that employer health plans hire specifically to hunt down cheaper, foreign-market versions of expensive specialty drugs like Gilead Sciences' Biktarvy, import them, and hand them to patients at little or no cost, while charging the employer a fee or a cut of whatever money gets saved. Federal officials have already been warning that this practice is illegal, even as it has spread across a growing number of U.S. employer-sponsored health plans looking to cut costs. The AFP industry, for its part, has defended itself as both legal and safe, framing itself as an antidote to sky-high American drug prices rather than a threat to patients. Patient advocacy groups see it very differently, and they weighed in directly in this case. In an amicus brief filed in the related case of Gilead Sciences versus Meritain Health, patient groups stressed what they called the obvious and serious risks to patient health created by this kind of imported drug scheme, pointing to the same quality control and traceability concerns the Fourth Circuit ultimately leaned on in its ruling. Advocacy groups now say a decision like this one could force AFPs to shrink dramatically or shut down entirely, since blocking the import and sale of branded drugs, like Gilead Sciences' Biktarvy, strikes at the exact core of how these programs make their money. For now, the injunction against RX Valet, Advanced Pharmacy, Affordable RX, Gregory Santilli, Meritain Health, and ProAct stays firmly in place, and Gilead Sciences has a strong appeals court precedent behind it if it needs to go after other companies running similar overseas importation schemes with its other branded medications. That is the story of Gilead Sciences wins Fourth Circuit ruling blocking overseas Biktarvy imports by alternative funding programs. Add your perspective in the comments, share this story with a colleague, and subscribe for the next ConferenceHype narrative.